What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. But this time, I'm not going to talk about a whole bunch of celebrity situations. We're talking about Africans in China. Now, this is news, and I'm not really a news channel, but a lot of brothers have been asking me to weigh in on this and, do it to the best of my ability. And one of the reasons why is because I'm a frequent flyer and traveler to Africa. I am what you would consider to be a person who is pro-black. While I wouldn't consider myself a Pan-Africanist, I would say that I have a lot of Pan-African leaning. So I would consider myself a person who is more Pan-African than not, right? And I do love the continent. I do accept the fact that I believe that our people originated from here and went elsewhere. I do understand that by coming here. That's something that I'm very proud of. I found some of the best people I've ever met in my life coming from the continent, and I've been here many times, and I enjoy my stay, and I'm here now. But I have to be honest and give my honest opinion of this whole situation about Africans being stranded in China and Africans being mistreated in China, and all of which, because I have a different take on it. I know a lot of people on YouTube have been giving their take. A lot of people have been giving their opinions and talking about how wrong China is for that behavior. And China has been on the hot seat for abusing Africans, not only in China, but they come to Africa and do it. Not all of them, but enough of them have come to Africa and do it. And it's been documented, and God knows how many times they've done it without it being documented. But before I give my take on this, I want to give a shout out to Brother Odinga. He sent me this Instagram clip of what's happening to Africans in China, and I want to play this clip first before I give my take on it. But let me go ahead and play this particular clip, and then I'll give my take on it.
This is what's going on in Guangzhou right now. Black people have been kicked out of their apartments. Students have been kicked out of their dormitories because there's been a new surge of corona in China. And they are saying this is coming from black people. Even if some black people have corona disease, is this how to treat people? They made these people pay 6 months rent, and now they've kicked them out of their rooms. They are literally sleeping on the street. This is not how to treat people. We are not animals. We are not dogs. There are many Chinese in Africa, but we don't treat them like this. No. When this pandemic was going on, when this outbreak was still going on in China, Africa was still welcoming Chinese into our continent. We were welcoming them into our various countries. So how come you're treating people like this?
Brenda, not her real name, has been living in China since 2017. Earlier this week, she was kicked out of her home without any explanation. And just like any other person in a foreign country, the embassy is usually the next resort. For her, it was the Kenyan embassy.
I didn't have a place to go. I had to sleep outside. Yes, I did sleep outside. The next day they came. I tried calling them. They were not actually responding to my call. What they told me, go to the police. I did that. After staying at the police station for a maximum of 3 good hours, they told me that we are sorry, we cannot help.
She reached a dead end after 2 days of sleeping outside the embassy, a situation that many like her from other African nations have found themselves in. This video shows Chinese police officers escorting people of African descent from a place they had set apart for themselves.
I know of 2 pregnant ladies. One is 8 months pregnant, the other is 6 months pregnant. They cannot access hospital.
Patricia, also not her real name, was lucky to have escaped the eyes of Chinese nationals who came knocking in her house earlier today. Our conversation on phone revealing just how scary everything is.
Now I don't have food. I don't know what to do. I can't just go to the street. I don't want to sleep outside. Now it's either I choose to have somewhere to sleep or I choose food.
So our landlord gave us an hour quick notice. Can you imagine? Only in China that the landlord would just come, switch off your lights and give you an hour quick notice to leave. When you have legal signed documents with him, You have contracts of a 6-month rate. You're paid upfront with the taxation and everything. And then the landlord will just come to your door and knock and tell you he's coming up in 10 minutes, that he's giving you an hour to pack out. With the whole situation out there. Right? Even are we animals?
What saddens me is that all these people were staying in China all this while when the outbreak was going on. How many black people died from this disease in China? But now that things are getting a little better, this is how you're treating us? This is unacceptable. Guys, I know this video is very upsetting and a lot of people are angry. I am too. But we shouldn't start attacking Chinese in Africa in retaliation. And an eye for an eye will only make us all go blind. All I want you to do is to keep sharing this video and let's draw people's attention to this. Let's draw our government's attention to this so that something can be done about this.
All right, you brothers and sisters saw the clip. You understand what's going on there, and what's going on there is sad. These are Africans giving their experience, and I know that they're not lying. I do understand the fact that they're telling the truth. There's no way in the world that I would ever say that they're not telling the truth. But I do want to ask this: why are Africans in China in the first place? What conditions would it be such that Africans would leave their country, whether that country be Uganda, whether it be Kenya, whether it be Burundi, whether it be Nigeria, whether it be South Africa, whether it be any of the great countries on the continent? Why are they in China? And the reason why they're in China is because of lack of opportunity. And while we can sit back and blame the white man for wrecking Africa and certainly European powers that be, we can also do that, and they would be right. But we have not put the leadership of Africa on trial for what they have also done to destabilize these individual countries. And that's something that black people want to get away from. It's just like every problem in black America, we like to blame the white man for it. The white man has done this, the white man has done that, and we point and we point and we point and we blame. And we never point those fingers at ourselves, and that is why we never grow. That's why black America and Africa has the same mentality, which is why both people in both groups are underdeveloping because of how they think. And see, the situation is that Africans are fleeing to the continent, in droves. They're going to the USA, they're going to London, they're going to the UK, if you want to talk about that, London. They're going, some of them are even going to Ukraine, believe it or not. Africans are going to Ukraine for a new start. Africans are going to Poland for a new start. And they're going to China because as brutal as China can be to Africans, it's better than being at home. And see, if China is going to take blame for how they're mistreating Africans, and they should, when is the African Union going to take blame for why their people has to go out and go to other countries and get mistreated? Because see, the mistreatment of Africans is not just in China. It's in the Arab places. It's in, the Western world. And see, that's another thing I want to talk about. See, black people and Africans expect people to treat them better than we treat each other. And I'm sorry, I've been in Africa for, a small time in my life. As far as if I was to add it all up, it's been less than a year. But the reason why the Chinese can come over to Africa and get away with a lot of things is because Africans in general don't have, in my opinion, from what I've seen, a high level of respect for one another. They don't treat each other the way that they should. This is kind of similar to what happens in the black community, okay? We don't treat each other the way we should. But then yet when the Chinese beauty salons come in and they mistreat and beat up on black women, all of a sudden now the black community wants to get upset. But these other groups like the Koreans and the Chinese and other people like that, they find out how to treat you by how you treat your own people. And see, nobody will treat you better than you treat your own people. And see, the Chinese know that the Africans don't treat their people right. They know that the governments don't treat their people right. So once you come to China and you're on our turf, your embassies will not care about you. And you are going to do whatever we want you to do. And if you get out of line, we can mistreat you and there's nothing you can do about it. Like right now, you have Africans talking about, please, China, stop mistreating Africans at once. I mean, you see it all the time, right? But my question is, or what? What are you going to do? What is Africa gonna do? Any African country? You're talking about telling China to stop the abuse of your people or what? Or else. What are you gonna do about it? I can tell you what you're gonna do about it. Nothing. You can't do anything about it. Number one, how? China's invested so much into the continent. So, you might have your individuals talking about they refuse to to sell Chinese people food. That now you want to be against the Chinese. The Chinese are not the biggest problem. Africa is its biggest problem. See, China is just an example of the problem that Africa has internally. See, and for me, it's weak to go out and blame China for all of this. Now, they are doing it and it is wrong. But see, they learn how to do that from you. Because see, to a certain extent, you don't have a respect for your own people. So although you might not treat people the same exact way, see, China has just a different way of doing it. But see, at the end of the day, they know that, Africans will sell each other out. They will work each other a long time without paying them and stuff. They know that these things happen on the continent. So they can come in and do that. That's why the Chinese can't go into white neighborhoods and pull the same things off as they do in black neighborhoods, because they know that white folks ain't going for that. The Indians will pull off one thing in the black neighborhoods, but they'll dare not go to the whites and do it because they know the whites ain't having it. And see, this is a situation, so you can blame the Chinese all you want. What are you gonna say about the blacks being, the Africans being abused in India? Or the blacks that get abused sometimes in Poland? Or the blacks that get abused in Russia? Their stories are all that's going around nationwide. It's just not a Chinese problem. This is an African problem. You see this? And the thing about it is, Africa should be such that nobody should ever have to leave there going to China. You see, that's the problem. Why are Africans? It should be zero Africans in China. Africans should be in Africa, where the resources are, where the opportunities are. It shouldn't be 80, 90% employment. And then you get this place like a South Africa, where the employment is like 27%, but really it's 37% because you have 10% of the people who have given up looking out for work. In Uganda, God knows how unemployed people are. In Kenya, God knows how unemployed people are. In Nigeria, don't get me started. But see, what's the problem there? You have leadership who doesn't care about the people like they should. And now you want to be mad at China. Be mad at the source. I know this is unpopular, but all you African Americans who are getting mad at China, I know this is a YouTube space. People are, it's money to be made and talking about what China is doing. But overall, that's unaccountability. And see, that's what black people are all the times. We're unaccountable. We want to blame our problems on everybody else, but not blaming at the source. The source of the problem is that we don't provide enough opportunities for our people. So they go elsewhere. And if they get mistreated, it's because of the lack of opportunities that we give them. That's our fault. We take as much blame in it as China does. And if not, I would say, if not more. The Pan-African community has failed Africans. If you want to talk about that, Africa's failed Africans. Pro-blacks have failed blacks and Africans. That's all it's all on those communities. And you don't like it, I don't care. But guys, that's what I gotta say. So guys, it's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again, another episode of the Celebrity Junk. Make sure you like, comment, the bell. Don't forget to subscribe, right? Hit the subscribe button to my channel and all of that. And also take a chance to go to my first comment to the top. Check out my Black Men Are Perfect t-shirts at my Teespring store. I'd really appreciate it. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.